Hello, everyone. This is Jay Dobbins, your host of the Marvel DC Universe Fan Club. We're now episode 201, and I got some breaking news for you guys. That, of course, Spider-Man is now going to be out of the MCU. Unfortunately, Kevin Feige will no longer be producing it, any future Marvel films, and I will explain why. But yeah, the reason why all this is happening, and this is, um, very surprising to me. The first deal, of the Sony and Marvel Studios Sony and Disney contract rather, since they had the distribution rights to Marvel Studios. But yeah, um, so what happened? What their first contract was that Sony would allow Marvel Studios to put Spider-Man in their movies, and Sony will get 100% of the profits. But Marvel Studios would get, you know, the profits on like toys, comic books, things like that. But then all of a sudden, the Spider-Man Far From Home movie makes $1 billion worldwide. Then, Marvel Studios comes up with the idea of, hey, they, sit down, have another meeting with Sony, and they sit down and say, hey, we would like to have half of those profits in the future for future Marvel films because they're, Marvel Studios is claiming that Spider-Man made $1 billion because of Marvel Studios, which I think is true. Yeah, you know, but still, they felt like, most studios felt like, hey, they should get, half of those profits since it's made that much money. And they're claiming that, hey, this movie made billions of dollars because of us, you know. So they thought that it wouldn't be, right for Sony to have 100% of the profits. But let's not forget, Sony has full rights to Spider-Man. So, you know, if they want, they could pretty much snatch Spider-Man from Marvel Studios if they wanted to. But of course, you know, right now, you know, as far as we know, the Marvel Studios and Sony cannot come up with an agreement. So they didn't reach an agreement. So therefore, they're like, okay, after the third Spider-Man film starring Tom Holland, we're gonna take Spider-Man back to Sony. So you know, it's pretty shocking, but at the same time, let's remember what I told you guys before, and this is something I probably mentioned in my podcast. I can't remember if I did. It's been a while back. It's been too long, but Sony has rights to Spider-Man. That includes production rights and distribution rights. You know, so Marvel Studios should be happy and lucky enough to even have Spider-Man in the MCU. However, um, Sony still has full control. And honestly, the way I look at it, Spider-Man is what's keeping the lights on at Sony anyway. Spider-Man is Sony's golden egg. That's their bread and butter. Without that, Sony probably would go down in flames. So I guess I can understand Sony not wanting to give 50% of the profits to Marvel Studios. So, I'm not going to hold that against them, but at some point they might have to reach an agreement if, Marvel Studios does want Tom Holland's Spider-Man in upcoming films. Because I think the first contract was like, I think 6 films. That include Captain America Civil War, Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame, I believe. So I'm thinking like, okay, You have and the new upcoming Spider-Man film. So let's not forget that. But yeah, 6 contracts. But then they were like, oh, let's do. I think they're talking about him doing 9 more Spider-Man. Well, not 9 more Spider-Man um, films altogether, but more like, you know, him appearing in other Marvel films as well as his own. So I guess, but then of course, you know, Sony wants to use Spider-Man for the Venomverse, which I think is understandable. However, they can't use Tom Holland, so they gotta, probably start from fresh, start from scratch and use um, someone else to play, Spider-Man for the Venomverse. Since Sony's trying to come up with um, their own Sony, what's it called, the Sony Cinematic Universe or whatever you call it. So things like that. So I mean, something like that. Because let's not forget, Sony's trying to do a Venom sequel, the Craven Hunter film, the Silver Sable, and of course the Black Cat film, along with I think Morbius too. So yeah, they're trying to do all that. But yeah, because Sony and Disney couldn't, well, Sony and Marvel Studios couldn't reach a deal. That's the reason why this is happening right now. And right now, everyone, millions of people love Tom Holland Spider-Man. I can't think of anyone who does not, but millions of people do, and they want to keep the franchise going. But Sony's not going to budge, which I already pretty much knew that wasn't going to happen anyway, since the movie made $1 billion, and of course, um, Sony won an Oscar for well, Sony won an Oscar for the Spider-Man to Spider-Verse animated film. So yeah, I don't think they're gonna you know want to do 50-50. But if anything, they should do like um, instead of half, they should get like I think Marvel Studios should get like at least instead of 5%, get 25% of the profits. Which is still good. You know, or either 20 or 25%, but not 50. Because then like then Sony probably won't get nothing. They won't be won't have anything really. And because of Spider-Man, this is my opinion. Because of Spider-Man, Sony has pretty much a leg to stand on. So, but yeah, I think they should reach I think they should go back in the meeting room, you know, sit back down and try doing negotiations, because like I think like Sony tried to compromise with Marvel Studios. Marvel Studios is like, no, we want 50-50 of the profits for future upcoming Spider-Man films since the movie made $1 billion. Sony wouldn't budge, so therefore they couldn't reach a deal. Therefore, you know, Sony's out of the MCU. Well, at least for now, anyway, because a lot of people were looking forward to him teaming up with X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Deadpool. But at the same time, let's not forget, you want him to team up with Venom. So this is what I think should happen, and this is just me. I think they should, you know, sit back down, sit back at the, just. I think they should, sit back down and discuss, like, okay, discuss, just somebody should counter, do like a counter offer or something like that, well, like trying to think. Oh, this again, like, okay, like I said before, Marvel Studios could get 20 or 25% of the profits, and Marvel Studios could get, I mean, not Marvel Studios, sorry, Sony could get like I would say 80% or 75% of the profits. So that's more money. So therefore, since Sony has full rights to Spider-Man, they should get more of the profits. Instead of half. Because right now Marvel Studios has asked for joint custody. And Sony's like no. So I can understand Sony's part. And I guess I could slightly understand Marvel Studios. But let's not forget Sony. Marvel Studios needs to remember that Sony has full rights, and they're not giving those rights up. Now if they bought Sony in the future, then that would be, like if Disney bought Sony in the future, that'd be a different story. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. So yeah, I think they should sit back down and do like you know a 25 to 70, 25 75 you know percent deal. Instead of 50-50, they should get like it should be like 25-75 or 20-80. Where Sony gets most of the profits since they have full rights. That's what I think should happen. Now, however, if they do a 50-50, now this is what I think should happen. If they do a 50-50, then they should include Tom Holland's, having Tom Holland cross over in the Venomverse. So that way they'd be like, okay, instead of working against each other, they could work together because think about it. 50-50 if and only if Marvel Studios allows Tom Holland to be in the Venomverse, especially for the Maximum Carnage film, because I think it would be very cool to have Tom Holland and Tom Hardy, like, go head to head. So that would be very cool. And on top of that, you have the Maximum Carnage film, and they can make a whole lot of money. 50-50, That is when I think there is when I think they should do the 50-50. It's when they put, Tom Holland in the Venomverse and, do the little Maximum Carnage deal. Along with the Spider-Man versus Venom, that type of thing too, That's when they should do the 50-50. But if they're not going to do that, it should be like, 20-80 or 25-75 where, Sony gets most of the profits. But that's just my opinion. That's an idea that I think should happen because, the whole world wants a Maximum Carnage film. And I don't think that they should, replace Tom Holland with a new Spider-Man for the Maximum Carnage film. But if they have to, to include Spider-Man in the Venomverse, then so be it. But that's what I think. I think they should do that. Now that's just an idea. That's what I would do. I'd be like, hey, if you want 50-50, then we want Tom Holland in the Venomverse. Now Marvel Studios is either going to take it or leave it. But if they're smart, if they because I don't know. It's like Sony knows more about the Maximum Carnage comic books than Disney for some reason. I don't know. But a Tom Holland, Tom Hardy Maximum Carnage movie, that would be awesome. So, but yeah. So that's just my opinion. But honestly, I think it sucks. But, that they couldn't reach a deal. But, I don't think it's over yet. So, best thing I can do is, say that we'll see. But, I don't know. But hopefully they meet again, and sit back down and kind of, give a better offer or make a better offer where both of them can, win. But I don't think if the 50-50 deal should happen unless absolutely necessary, So, we'll just go from there. But yeah, I just found out this news today, and I'm just like, wow, that's bad. You know, Spider-Man, being removed from the MCU after the third Spider-Man film. So, but we'll see. I don't think it's over, but until then, it's done deal. So, but anyway, that concludes this episode. So feel free to visit us, like us on Facebook. We're available on iTunes, Google Play Music app, Spotify, and of course YouTube.